Welcome back to another El Camino video. Now, if you're one of the three people that watch my videos, I kind of already went over this in the end of my last video about the new parts we got in from Holley. Now, it wasn't the original accessory drive kit that I had ordered from them with AC and a different water pump. That kit actually got bumped out until June 30th. So I got looking on Holley's website, and they happen to have their alternator kit and their power steering pump kit in stock. And to be honest, that's all we really need to run this car. So I was super thankful they had that in stock, and it just came in. So I'll show you what we got going on. And then basically all the parts on this side right here is going to be everything for the alternator kit. And then over here, we have everything for the power steering pump kit. So when we get everything bolted onto the motor, then we can do things like install this front sway bar. We can get this passenger side fender installed. Basically the whole front clip of the car back on the front bumper. We can route all the plumbing for the supercharger cooling system, you know, the radiator. Honestly, the goal with this car at the moment is just to get everything ready for when that engine controller kit comes in off back order, which, like I mentioned before, who knows when that's coming in. We could be waiting a while, but I just want to have everything ready to go. That way, when that kit comes in, we can wire the car up and hopefully get it going. But we'll see how far we get today. And it's now the following weekend after I put the power steering pump, the alternator on, and the sway bar. So I'll show you what we got going on, kind of explain a few things. There it is. Man, I'm super happy with the way this turned out. Really glad I went with Holley on this one. I was kind of worried we wouldn't have enough room when it came to this alternator on this side, just being close to the frame and everything. But as you can see there, we got plenty of clearance all the way around. I did go with the black finish on the alternator, and then the black finish on the power steering pump as well. Super happy with the way that looks. Now, one thing with this power steering pump is it did not come with a reservoir, the lines, or anything. So I ordered a reservoir, the lines, the fittings, and then 2 adapters to run in this stock steering box here. And then one other thing with that power steering pump kit is it does come with this spacer. It kind of relocates the position of the throttle body, so as you can see, it kind of pushes it out a little farther, makes it easier to put an intake on, and I think it directs the flow of air a little better into the motor. Don't quote me, I could be wrong on that. And then yeah, I got this sway bar installed, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of struggling with that one for a bit. I have no idea why, but here's the stock mounts for the sway bar. So for some reason they like welded the fronts on, they just tacked them in. I don't know why they did that, because it was still bolted into place. I'm not sure the reasoning. So yeah, I had to take a grinder when I was installing, just kind of grind off those welds that were built up on the bottom of the frame. But yeah, we got that done. And yeah, like I said, just super happy with the way everything turned out. We did get the passenger side fender installed. It's actually starting to look like a car again. We did get basically the front clip on. My phone did die during the filming of that, but man, it's looking good so far. It's starting to look like work's paying off, you know. Now moving forward, this LT4 supercharger, it does require its own cooling system that's separate from the radiator. As you can see here, we got the inlet and the outlet. So basically, you need a heat exchanger or an air-to-water intercooler, I believe it's also called. You need a pump and then a coolant overflow tank. So I decided to go with this Mishimoto brand. There wasn't really a whole lot of options. It seemed like there was a few for like a ZL1 Camaro that were pretty spendy, or I could run the stock ZL1 heat exchanger. I didn't really want to go that route. So I ended up going with the Mishimoto brand, so I guess we'll see how that works out. And then now, this pump actually comes with the LT4 crate motor from GM. So I was shopping around before I got the motor. I didn't know this actually comes with it. And I was super happy because this is like a $300 pump. And then hopefully with that engine controller kit, it's just going to plug in and then we won't have any issues. But I guess that's yet to be seen. Then here's the coolant tank I decided to go with. I am going to need to get some bigger fittings for the coolant lines. So as far as mounting it goes, basically the radiator is going to sit in the back right here. You can see the rubber mounts for the radiator, and then we're going to have to figure out how to mount that up in here somewhere. Might have to make some brackets. I know we're most likely going to have to drill through this core support to run the coolant lines, but I guess we'll see how that turns out. And then I got it mocked up into place. It's just kind of holding with zip ties on both ends. So I just have to notch out this core support right up here in this area. It looks like we should be able to run the lines, no problem. I did throw the radiator in here, just kind of lined it up just to make sure we had enough clearance on the backside. It's looking like we should. This is just kind of tilted at the moment just because of the weird angle. It's held in with zip ties. But yeah, then we have to basically come off these mounts or make something to kind of hold this into place permanently. Yeah, looks like should work. All right, there you have it. We've got the heat exchanger installed. As you can see, we did have to take out a decent sized chunk on either side, but we now have enough room to fit lines on, so that's good. I did have to get kind of creative, so I took 2 90-degree brackets, bolted one to the core support and the other to the heat exchanger, and then once it aligned itself pretty much, when I lined it up on both sides, I took a bolt, ran it through the center and tightened it down. Seems to be pretty stout, so I guess time will tell if that holds up or not. Now I'm just going to continue with assembling the rest of the front of the car, button up some of the bolts, you know, for the headlight bezels, and put the front bumper back on, put the battery tray back in over here, just little things like that. Guys, we got everything bolted back in, got the battery tray in, got the battery sitting there, tightened up all the bolts for the core support, got the radiator sitting in here. It's just kind of zip tied into place for now. We got to come up with some brackets to go over the top here in the future. I did get the wiring back in, clipped in anyways. You know, all the plugs plugged back in, the ground screwed in for the headlights, turn signals, and marker lights. Did get the front bumper back on. And man, this thing is just looking so clean at the moment. I mean, it really shines up well. My grandpa took excellent care of this thing when he had it, and it definitely shows. But yeah, it's just awesome to see this thing going back together, you know, especially for my motivation, because after a month of just, you know, ordering parts and hoping they fit and tearing everything apart, and man, it got pretty ugly there for a while, but it's finally starting to look like a car again. And while we were working, wouldn't you know it, more parts came in. So I got to talking with my brother, and instead of taking it to an exhaust shop, he said, hey, let me do the exhaust. So I said, all right, and I kind of ordered up a list of things that I thought we'd need. So went with 3-inch exhaust kind of all the way around, and went with these Flowmaster mufflers. The reviews seemed okay, and they're reasonably priced. I didn't have a huge budget to do exhaust. So yeah, I do have one more 4-foot chunk of that 3-inch stainless coming. That's another thing. This is all 304 stainless. So yeah, got two 45s right there, 190. That 90 is for the driver's side. On the passenger side, since we had to modify this and then it's kind of already kicked back, we don't need a 90 for this side. And then these two 45s are kind of going to be for where the exhaust dumps out at. I'll show you real quick. So we're just going to dump the exhaust kind of right out the side here, right in front of the rear tire. Figured that'd look pretty cool. So yeah, and then I already explained this in my previous video, but we got these Motion Raceworks flanges that bolt to the stock manifolds, and then we got the 2.5-inch into 3-inch. So this will sit in right like this, just weld them up. And then we did get these weld-on O2 bungs. Got the red RTV for this flange here, or the flanges. Then I got these clamps and then the exhaust hangers to hang the exhaust in the back. But that's probably going to be coming up in another video. All right, guys. Yeah, it's probably going to do it for today's video. As always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.